What is up? Welcome back to another video. Today is Monday, it's a news video, and we have quite a bit on the docket to cover. But before we get into that, there is one news story that is very significant, very important about today, especially January 20th, 2025. It's the 4-year anniversary of this channel. Yeah, January 20th, 2021, I started this channel, and here we are 4 years later, still chugging along. There's been some ups, there's definitely been some downs, a lot of lessons learned on the way. At the end of the day, I just want to take this moment here before we jump into the news and say thank you to all the viewers of the channel, all of you people who have subscribed, who have liked my videos, who have commented, shared your thoughts, feelings, opinions. I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I've hopefully been able to help you guys learn a lot. And it's been a great process overall. I'm very excited about it. Got a lot of goals for 2025 in particular. So I'm hoping it's going to be a big one. For now, I'm just pretty happy with where we're at. We'll just kind of keep the train running, but I do want to share my appreciation and my gratitude. And that, of course, extends to the members of the channel whose names are here. Definitely appreciate their support a bunch. Remember, if you join the channel, you support me, the work I'm doing here. You get this really well planned out shout out once a week. Not only do you get that, you also get exclusive access to videos, early access to other videos. And if you join now through the rest of this week, you can have the opportunity to vote on a review that I will be putting on the channel. So join, vote. If you are a member, vote as well. Don't forget. Also, if you want to learn about my very interesting experience with MLM schemes, pyramid schemes, I just put a video out about that a few days ago, so join so you can check that out. If you can't, that's completely fine. Just like the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future content. Again, I really appreciate the support. But with all that out of the way, let's get on to the news. So first and foremost, a little self-promotion here, self-plug. Pentax ME review is out. Feel free to check that out. I thought it was pretty fun. It's kind of quirky. Check it out if you want to. Definitely appreciate that. Moving on to new items here. We have upcoming videos on this channel. We've got the KEX KF01 flash review that will be coming out either Wednesday or Friday, probably Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And then I was going to do a large segment on the impending slash already happened slash now reversed Tik Tok ban, because while it doesn't directly have anything to do with film photography per se, there are a lot of creative people, whether it's photographers, film photographers, videographers, what have you, that have done a lot of their business and their promotion for their businesses on TikTok. A lot of people have found creative juices there, so to speak. And so the status of that app in particular definitely affects a lot of creators, a lot of businesses, and I thought it was worth kind of delving into. Now, the app was pulled off of like the App Store and the Google Play Store on Saturday, I believe it was, and you couldn't access the app itself. A little screen popped up that was like, hey, no can do. TikTok's not allowed here. And then I think it was like 12 hours later on Sunday, the app was like, psych, welcome back. Ostensibly, what happened is the law was passed that it was supposed to be banned today, I believe, the 20th. But then I think there's an executive order that's going to give it like a 90-day window or something like that to either seek being sold or to try to reverse the law that was just passed, although it likely won't be reversed because it had a lot of bipartisan approval. I don't really know too much about the laws. I was gonna, like I said, dive into it a lot more, but a lot seems to be kind of up in the air. For now, TikTok is still usable. For how much longer, who's to say? But that's just something I've been keeping my eye on. I might delve into it more in a future video, but we do have a lot of other like actual kind of film photography news to get to, so I'm gonna jump into that shortly. Just something I wanted to bring up, catch you guys up to speed if you're not up to date on what's going on there. So the next big news item is I'm Back, the digital back for film cameras is now out. And it might have been out for a while. I just saw an ad pop up last week for it on Instagram. So I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't know that those were like accessible for public. I was under the impression that they made these a little bit ago, and then they were fulfilling their like Kickstarter orders from contributions and stuff. But regardless, the website link is down below. You can buy one there. I think that there's like 4 available. They are 549 Swiss francs, which roughly translates to 600 USD, 576 euros, somewhere in that region. And the product itself we've talked about, but it's basically a universal digital back to put on a film camera. And there's a few things of interest about that. This is not the first of its product. There was a digital back for the Nikon F3, I believe. There's been other digital backs as well. Most famously, the Hasselblad digital back, which is like very, very, very expensive. It's very nice. It's a beautiful thing, but it's very expensive. So this obviously comes in a little bit lower than that. But it even states here that it's a 16 megapixel IMX206 Sony sensor, touchscreen, full menu, ISO controls. It definitely has a lot of the bells and whistles that you'd be looking for, but it does even mention that the quality is not up to par of a modern digital camera, nor even analog camera. But that's not really the intent behind this project. It's just to create a different avenue, which I find admirable. I think that it'd be really challenging to compete with larger digital companies because that's all that they do, and you're kind of already operating at a disadvantage. You're basically only selling someone half the camera, so you can't really say that this is a really high quality machine if you don't know what camera the person's going to be trying to shoot with or what lens or anything like that. So overall, I think it's a very interesting product. It is a little bit pricey, but there's a lot going on with it. So it's a very, very niche product as well. But if it is something you're interested in, it is available and you can check it out. I read an article a little bit ago. Canon is apparently looking to outsource its production of film cameras from Japan to China. I will link the article down below if you want to read into that more. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I find that to be kind of interesting, but then also, if I was going to be completely 100% dreamy-eyed optimistic, one could even venture to guess, hey, listen, if they're lowering their manufacturing cost, their production cost, is a fraction of a thought of a step into the direction of potentially maybe bringing back film cameras. I don't think that they will. I stand by that. And if anything, I think this article kind of supports that opinion. The main reason why they are looking to outsource their camera production is because they're trying to meet the kind of growing demand of consumer digital cameras. Now, it's my understanding that that demand was kind of a flash in a pan bubble that kind of like blew up. We see things like the Fuji X100 series that are like super popular with people. Other systems like the little Sony point and shoots. Canon had a series of them for a while that were doing very well, but then phone cameras got better and then people just started using those. But then there's still some people that are like, oh, there's something fun about having a camera with me at all times. So I think Canon is trying to lower their production costs by outsourcing to China, where labor, goods, and all of those things are a little bit lower cost than in Japan. That way they can sell their products at a more competitive pricing and not have it be, premium pricing for consumer goods. The caveat to that is that whole hype and that kind of trend was from like a few years ago. It's still kind of prevalent today, but it really blew up, I feel like, a few years ago, and they're just now kind of addressing it. So it's one of those things that I made mention of in my prediction video where Canon, in my mind, operates as one of those very large cargo ships, okay? And they can move, they can maneuver and stuff. It just will take a considerable amount of time and distance traveled in order to change orientation and positioning and stuff like that. So with something like the film cameras and things like that, the Fuji executive spoke about this when they said the never say never. They are skeptical as to the longevity of this market. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for a very large company such as Fuji, Canon, Sony, Nikon, any of these to reposition themselves so completely from their focus, which is digital camera production, and completely pivot back to film camera production just to meet a trend that might be on the downswing. Who's to say? It could happen. I'm very skeptical, but this is just kind of interesting story into what Canon's doing. So I will link it down below if you want to read more for yourself. The film camera stuff is mainly just my observation based on this behavior and then just kind of knowledge of how difficult and how expensive it is to produce a film camera, which is something that Pentax has cited a lot. Speaking of film camera production, we have updates from Analog Amsterdam. I received an email from one of the people there mid last week, thereabouts, doesn't matter, answering some questions that I asked. So I'm going to go over the answers really quickly, and you can kind of piece together the questions I asked based on the answers. But the warranty is going to be 2 years. They responded to the photos on the landing page, not from the AF1, which is something that I talked about a few weeks ago. They've already mentioned it. Internal construction and materials, a mix of ABS and metal components, and the website. We found that the laggy experience on the mobile was caused by the Instagram browser interfering with breakpoints. We've since created a simplified version that works much better, and I will link that down below. I kind of stand by my original sentiment that I think this is the future of film camera production. Smaller, independent creators trying to make stuff to fit the market. Now, I've received a few comments from people that are like, why is it a point and shoot? Why are we just making point and shoots and things like that? And then I've also received a lot and seen a lot of the new film camera, wow, new film camera 2025. There's been a fair amount of criticism, skepticism, and a fair amount of hype and excitement. And I kind of want to take a moment, a few moments here, a few minutes, let's be honest, to compile all of that into my succinct thoughts on the manner and share them with you, because that's what we do here. So first and foremost, the skepticism, the critiques. Why is it a point and shoot? Why is it always point and shoots? All of this stuff. To begin with that conversation, we have to look back to the market itself. We have to look at the producer of the goods, Analog Amsterdam. It's a shop that's been around for quite a bit of time, and they've established themselves in that localized market and in the larger market as a seller of higher end goods, of refurbished goods, really a solid community builder at the end of the day. Something that I think is very admirable and something that is very respectable, something that should be appreciated. I think that this is a completely good faith effort on their part to take time and effort and resources to produce a film camera. They've been spending many years doing it. This isn't a fly-by-night operation. They're just coming in to scoop your money and get out. Based off of everything I've seen about the camera, the components built into it, all of the features, it's a very competent system. Now, I think it's a point and shoot for a number of reasons. One, that is incredibly more marketable than something like a beginner SLR, where beginner SLRs are fantastic, but at the same time, you can't really afford to price them up that much because they're for beginners, they're for consumers. So you're kind of at a loss of profit. Two, you have to have enough components into that to make it something that's usable for beginners. So manual speeds, mechanical, whatever that looks like. If we're talking about Spotmatics, SRTs, Nichromats, anything like that. You also then have to worry about lens mounting. You have to worry about all of the mechanisms put into it. That's a headache, is what that is. And if you get into that, more power to you. But the whole being is, those are a lot of factors. Now you could argue the same about the electronics here, but electronics are something that's a little bit more understood, more simplified to some degree in the modern age, whereas mechanical mechanisms are understood, but it does require a lot more components, a lot more gearing, a lot more of that stuff. So for simplicity's sake, a point and shoot makes a little bit more sense. Then we look at the overall market, and one of the things that I've spoken about many times in regards to point and shoots is they're fantastic. They're so much fun when they work. And that's very rare because they're older. A lot of them are from the 80s, the 90s, and they are plastic, and they are electronics from the 80s and 90s, which aren't always the most reliable. And they've been taken on trips. They've been dropped in the water. They've been dropped on the concrete. They've been lost for years. Batteries have exploded in them. There's any number of combinations of misfortune have happened to these systems So I think creating a premium product to kind of fit itself into that scheme to replace something like an Olympus stylus, Olympus Miju Contax T2, Contax T3, like a Minilux, Yashica T4, any of those like premium brand cameras that people really admire and they really like, that have all these known issues that are thousands of dollars and then thousands more to try to fix. Those are all cool and great and stuff, but I think having this option as a affordable, more affordable in that context, and accessible with warranty option makes a lot of sense. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the Analog Amsterdam clientele. I've also spoken about this for a while now, but I think that if Olympus was to come back and make a stylus camera system, they would just make all of the money in the world. I think everyone would get on board with that because it's an exciting project. It's a pocketable camera system. It introduces a level of fun, a level of portability into the film camera market that we don't really have currently. So why is it a point and shoot? I think that kind of summarizes my answers there enough. It maintains an ability to make a profit on this project, and given that it is a smaller brand, especially in comparison to something like a Canon, Nikon, Sony, profit is going to matter a lot. Speaking of smaller brand and transparency, one of the things that is great about having a bigger name like a Canon, Nikon, Sony, whatever, is that you have that reputation. Like, you have years and hundreds of different products that people can say, hey, I like that system. So I'm assuming that the next one that they make is also going to be good. Also, I have the lenses for that system, so it'll be compatible with this new system, or they'll have an adapter or something like that. You're buying into a bit more of a family here. Obviously, you're not doing that with Analog Amsterdam because this is their first camera. Might be their first of many, it might be the first of the last, who really knows, but this is their first camera. And I think on one hand there is a bit of hesitation because there have been other companies, especially in recent years, who have jumped up and be like, hey, we're making a new film camera, and it's just the same thing we've seen over and over again. You know, just a plastic body, plastic lens, little advanced crank thing, and it's new. We slapped our name on it. But this is a different system, and I think the things that I'm taking into account with my excitement and with my hype for this, and why I'm very supportive of this product and this project in general, is because, one, the transparency is fantastic. I think my initial concerns or criticisms were mainly about the pictures on the website, because I was like, oh, like, it'd be nice to know, but any opportunity they've had, even in the comments of the article that, somebody was talking about it, they were like, the pictures aren't taken with a camera. In this email, responding to me about that. Like, they're very transparent about that. Another thing that really bolsters my support is the roadmap that they have on the website. Very clear goals that they're trying to set. It's not something that they're trying to do overnight. It's something they've been working on and working towards, and it's something that we can all kind of get generally more excited about as time goes on, and there's going to be check-in points and all of these things. So I think that kind of communication with myself and with other people who talk about cameras and film stuff on the internet makes it a very exciting prospect to get into. That's pretty huge. I'm pretty excited about it. The product obviously is not going to be for everyone. At no point in history has a company, any company, ever produced anything that has been unanimously appreciated or enjoyed. Obviously, some people are going to love point and shoots, other people are going to dislike point and shoots. And both camps, I think, have, their own rights and reasons. I'm kind of in the middle ground. I like point and shoots for what they are, but I also realize that they don't work in every instance. I think with something like this, I'm just excited to see a more localized, independent company in the film photography space providing and trying to meet the need of the space in general and just be supplementary to the community rather than just trying to extract wealth from the hype and extract what they can from the bubble, so to speak. Those are my thoughts. I think it's a great project. I'm very excited about it. I look forward to continuing to talk about it. I also look forward to hearing your thoughts about it in the comments down below. Are you excited about it? Do you not like point and shoots? Whatever. I think even if you don't like point and shoots, this level of detail and communication and transparency is still something that can be appreciated and respected. And so I hope that your comments reflect that appreciation and respect. Moving on to the next topic. Now, speaking of independent producers of goods for the film photography community, we have Reveni Labs with 2 new products on the horizon, one of which is an auto collimator. There's a picture of it right here. This is kind of in line with his camera speed tester. It's another tool for camera repair technicians, camera shops, anything like that needs to check focus on something. This basically helps you check focus to infinity on the film plane, and I believe he said also on the mirror itself. There's an Instagram post about it. I would recommend checking that out. I think it's going to be a bit of time before it's on Kickstarter, but that is something that he's prototyping currently, and it looks amazing. I think it looks great. Then we have another product from him, just a little tease. It's going to be a new light meter. We'll have more details about that in the coming weeks. He'll also be having a Kickstarter, so when that pops up, I'll be sure to share that with you. Breaking news. Breaking news. I just got a message from my buddy Matt, Reveni Labs. He says, the Kickstarter got approved. This is for the new light meter. It is called the Lumo, has been approved. It's going to be launching on the 25th. I'll put a link for the Kickstarter down below. It's a new light meter, as I mentioned. If you back it within the first 72 hours of it going live, get some early bird savings. Remember that it is going live on the 25th, so that is in 5 days. So check the link out down below. Click the notification on Kickstarter so that way you don't miss when it gets launched. And that is all. Check it out. Support him. Appreciate it so much. Back to the news. If you've not checked out Reveni Labs, he's on Instagram, Kickstarter, YouTube. Check him out there. Links for that are down below. Definitely a company I think you should support. Check out his shop. He does have a lot of things for sale and might be a product that you're looking for. And now we move on to the final bit of news. Speaking of sale things, Kamerastore turns 14. Kamerastore obviously is a Finland-based, I believe. I think it's Finland. No, wait, yeah, Finland. Yes, Finland, positive. Scandinavian of sorts. I believe it's Finland though, based company. They've been restoring cameras, selling cameras, all sorts of stuff for 14 years now, which is really impressive. And to celebrate that fact, they have a sale going on. I think today is actually the last day of it. So 13th to the 20th, I think, was the sale date. You might still have some time. Hop in there, see what they have for sale, see if anything's enticing. There were a few good deals I kind of scrolled through briefly. Anything a bit more high-end, that would be my first recommendation. They have a great breakdown of the quality of it. They have great testing equipment. They have really excellently trained technicians. Everything is up to a certain bar of quality, which I think is really respectable. Even something like their lower quality gear, their lower price stuff, they still have very detailed photos of everything, so you can know exactly what quality of product you're getting. With the Kamerastore stuff, they have a new video out, basically one of those videos where there's just 3 of them talking. I think something like how to, the perfect film camera or something like that. It's about a 45-minute long video. Fun little talking head piece, just going over different camera features and stuff like that. If you like my channel, you might enjoy that. I will link it down below as well. And then final big bit of news is Nico's photography show also has a new video out going over his insight, his opinion on the Kodak Alaris situation and the Kodak Cine film situation. Something I've talked about in some detail. A lot of people have talked about it. He obviously has a bit more insight, I think, than pretty much everyone because he's been in the realm of film photography for so long. He has contacts in the industry. And he talks about in the video where he knows stuff, can't always talk about stuff, but like he has a really firm grasp, and I think he does a really good job of explaining what he can explain and talking about stuff in a very informed manner. It's about a 26-minute video or something like that, so I definitely recommend you check that out as well. Anytime he posts, I think it is a benefit to the community, so check that out. That rounds out the news for today. Nothing really else going on. Again, like the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel. Definitely appreciate that support. 4 years going and I feel pretty good about things. I hope you have enjoyed the experience thus far. I do really appreciate everyone's support. I'm really hoping to see this channel grow more this year and in upcoming years. Can't do it without you. So thank you again. Feel free to join the channel as mentioned so you get access to all of that good stuff. And you can vote on the upcoming camera review that I do at the end of the month. So all that out of the way, thank you very much, and I will catch you on the next one.